Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nguyen, and today I'd like to share with you some of the idea about how do you motivate college students in the class using gameplays. So what is this story about today? What are we going to learn about today? So I know that you're all here because we all as students and teachers, as school administrators, we care about learning and education. And so it had kind of common ground that we all going to have. And like the Friday, it's the Friday, you know, and we have a million things that we could do, but we're here, so we care about this. And I'd just like to share my humble perspective about what could be a better classroom experience. I do not, most of the idea going to extract it from the university teaching class. I spent a semester trying to gather ideas and hopefully come up with my own way of what I think a better classroom should be. And the fact that we come to here, we all experience learners and teachers. Believe it or not, when you communicate something to someone, you're effectively teaching them, and they effectively learn. Right? And we do this all, when we're little until now, we do it every day, every day. So we all experience learning and teaching, even if we want it or not. And this talk are not aimed to define the education system. Rather, I like to serve it as a complement to what I've been teaching and learning in the classroom so far. So if you walking away today with something that you say, oh, I could explain, I could take some pointer from the talk and apply to my teaching or apply to my learning, then I had success and I would really thrill if you'd be able to do that. So my ultimate goal is to encourage lifelong learning. Right? We go to college, we learn. What happened afterward, right? We're gonna leave here. Are we stop learning? Of course not. We're gonna continue learning, and I wanna encourage that kind of momentum. We'll give you a good momentum. You get out of here eventually, and you keep on learning. It's lifelong learning. That's my ultimate goal. So let us start. So first of all, let me see. This is a typical college classroom. And I put a little dot there and just kind of fill in, what do you think of the college classes? Right? So any words here? Oh, college classes are
boring.
Crowded.
Crowded. Interesting. Okay. Interesting.
I feel it's like a daycare.
A daycare.
Well, I like that.
So first thing we learn about it is requirement. It's a requirement class. You kind of have to go it, even you want it or not. Right? You require. Some people say it's hard. As long as you go up to higher level, it gets harder, and people complain about it basically. Hard. And then with a lot of things that come with it: painful, scary, lame, confusing, boring. So it's all there that people would talk. It become a topic of conversation outside the class. Like, oh, how do you think about that class? Oh no, it's boring. And so on, right? So this is kind of not a good idea what we think about college classes. Right? Now, on the other hand, oh, was it fun? Nobody mentioned it's fun. Just gotta say interesting. So fun. So games are, on the other hand, what do you think of games? What do you come in mind? Is it
Games are fun.
games are fun?
Entertainment.
Entertainment.
Waste of time.
It's a waste of time. You're talking about video game. I'll come to that as well. Interactive? Okay. What do you think? When you come to mind?
It adds some fun to the class.
Okay. Now let me go. Challenging, engaging, interesting. Ooh, addicting. What the waste of time? Basically, you're saying addicting. It's fun, exciting. So you bring up a good idea. Would it be motivating? Right? In the college classroom setting, would it be motivating? So I have these two different worlds, basically, a world of game and a world of classroom. Right? Is that something we can find in the middle ground that define basically a new thing in the middle that we have learned and we have fun? But why do we keep fun from learning? Right? Why do we do that? We think, if you're a teacher, you think, oh, my subject is so much fun for me. How could it not be for my students? right? It's just strange what we think of. So first of all, we associate learning with hard work, and fun is more relaxing. Right? So that's one of the first things that we come in mind when it comes to learning. And we associate learning with pain, because no pain, no gain. You had to put in the pain, you had to go through the pain so that we can gain something at the end of the day. So we associate learning with pain. And then we associate learning with seriousness. We want to learn to be serious. And game, somebody say it's pointless, right? Waste of time, pointless, addicting. But it doesn't have to be this way, right? Let me go back and reread this, right? Did you say learning and hard work, right? But just think about it. When you not put in any work, you still learn, right? Just think about when you were open to anything and suddenly you're like, that moment. It doesn't mean you have to put in so much work. It doesn't mean you have to sit down, write, and think every time. It just comes to you just like that, when you relax. That's when you learn, I think, most effective. Now, the second thing, learning in pain. Pain. Surprisingly, the more we go through school, the more we associate learning with pain. But when we would say we were little, 5 or 6, we go to, say, kindergarten or elementary school. Learnings are not painful. Like you learn how to finger painting, how excited that would be. And you learn, I think, in kindergarten or elementary school, you learn most of the things you need to know to be successful in life. That's when you actually learn something. Right? College is just more reinforcement of that kind of thing, right? And you learn deeper into technical stuff as well. So it doesn't have to be painful. And learning in seriousness, fun is pointless. I would like to think fun is serious. Fun equals serious, right? Because we're all attracted to fun, right? Why make it to a serious thing now? We're all attracted to it. It should be taken as serious in the classroom. Right? Because after we have fun, we tend to learn more, and so on. So with all this in mind, I think we need to rethink about what we said. How good is not for students? We need to rethink this. And when I do a little bit of rethinking, and come with a lot of different sources I learn, it's come to mind is gameplay. It's a new concept coined by Mark Prensky, which is a respectable author, and he wrote several books about this kind of topic about game and learning. One book that he wrote called "Don't Bother Me, Mom, I'm Learning." Its title is very intriguing. And so he coined it. He said that gameplay is all the activity that design employ to keep the player engaged and motivated to complete at each level and then entire games. So let me break it down and see what he means by this. So first of all, gameplay is not just eye candy of video games. Right? When we come to say game, we think about video game, and sometimes it's kind of misleading. Game is rather activity and strategy. Right? It's not just eye candy of video games. Right? Gameplay is about doing something all the time, thinking, making decisions. Right? Your mind always keep busy. If you motivated, you keep it all busy all the time by using gameplay. And it provides balance. Right? To keep people engaged and motivated, you want to provide a balance. If it's too easy, people will get bored. If it's too hard, they give up. Right? So it's important to keep the balance in the game. Keep the balance. And give short-term goal. Right? So this come back to the balance thing. Right? You don't want to make it too easy. You want to give them some kind of goal that you can get it really quickly so they can keep going, and then the next short goal, and keep going, and you lead them to a kind of directions, right? Don't make it too hard. You kind of lead to the directions. And then gameplay usually easy to learn, but hard to master. Right? I think you can think of one example here is chess, right? You play chess. The rule can be written in like an index card. Right? That's all you need to know about playing chess, right? Don't go to book to learn chess, right? You can learn how to play it. It will take year and years to master it. Right? You have to play with countless players to get strategy, the activity, how are you gonna, plan ahead and so on. So gameplay is gonna be along those lines. Something you easy to learn, but we keep people motivated to master. So gameplay is all this stuff. How are we gonna bring this into our classroom? So gameplay in the classroom. And so I was reading this guy, Mark Prensky paper, and one thing that I get out of it, if I can put it in one sentence, it would be, if you want to add gameplay to the classroom, you just need to add uncertainty. Okay. So it was puzzling me. I don't know why. So all I had to do is uncertainty. So let me explain what the uncertainty here means. So first of all, is that if the teacher suggests things that might or might not be true, right? And something you can suggest something that's very obvious that, oh, it's not true, but then it will capture the student attention. Right? They say, oh, that's not true. Well, when they say that, they're thinking, they're making decisions. So I think that's important for teachers from time to time to suggest something that kind of out of the blue and see the reaction from the students. I mean, that would make it more exciting in the classroom. You never know when the teacher is gonna say something that, unusual. The second thing is you reflect frequently. So what it means is a concept, you say it to your student one time. They may get it, they may not, right? If they even get it, they may forget it as well. So what it reflect frequently means you keep saying it over and over and over again, but in different setting, different scenario, different gameplay. You keep saying about the concept, but have them different way to wrap around their mind. So they do a lot of this reflection. Okay, I guess I'll do a jump here. And the way you can do this frequently is you promote competitions and give it reward. Okay? So competition is wonderful because it motivates people, right? You want to be better, not only better than your friend, but just better than yourself. You cannot keep going. And give competition a reward system will keep even more exciting, right? So speaking of that, I'm having a reward here in the box, okay? And we may have some competition, and whatever in there, I don't know. We're gonna have some rewards. So see how people start laughing, like, oh, okay, this is gonna get somewhere, right? And well, go back a little bit. You point and title earning system, okay? So let me explain what it means here. So usually in the classroom, you take quiz and you maybe score from, I don't know, 1 to 100, right? And you get 90 to 100, you get A, and so on. It's a point scale system, right? I think it's not really motivating people. Rather, it would make a classroom, that entire class, gonna be 100 points. And you're gonna work your way up, right? You're doing this thing, you got 2 points. You're doing that, you got 5 points. You done good on the quiz, you got 10 points, and so on. And that's how kind of video game works, right? You're earning points. You don't get A, B, right? You're earning points. And if you get a certain point, you get title, right? So it's saying, let's start with the military, for example, right? You choose start at the private, right? So let's start a class with everybody private. And then someone do something well and they reward. If you get, say, 10 points, you become a corporal, for example. I don't know what other, or you can become knight in shining armor or something, but the type of title you want to put in. But the important thing is people tend to work for title. Whatever it is, they're going to work for it. I know some friends stay up all night playing game, so they would get to level 30 and title or Dark Knight or something. They would work hard just to get a title, right? And all their friends can see it, right? Why do you have that in the classroom? So people, outside classroom say, oh, hey, how the class, what are you doing in there? It's like, oh, I'm not sure, I'm taking this quiz, I get about 70, I'm not sure how I do in the class, maybe good, But what if you say, hey, how do you do in the class? You say, well, right now, I got 30 points and I'm a corporal, right? And if you people become like, say, sergeant, master, I don't know what the good title would be. I did you the military, but you can do anything, right? You can use anything. As long as everybody know the title are precious and hard to get, they would work their way up to get it. And along the way, they will learn all the concept, do the exercise, and so forth. So ABCD is nice, but it's not motivated. Because when you get a D, you feel like, oh gosh, it's over, right? But this point on the system, you don't know, you keep getting point and get at the end of semester, you figure it out. You get it, right? And you kind of pace yourself along the way. What we can do is lay out a plan. If you do all this, you will get 100 points, which is perfect grade in the class. And they kind of work it on the way. They know what to expect. They know how much they earn along the way. Right? So all this point actually focus on the thing in the middle here. It's just always focus on the learning, how they interact with each other, with the teachers, right? I really like how they lay out a classroom like this instead of the row. You know why? Because when you lay out the classroom in a row, everybody focus on the teachers, right? You never look at your students, not at face-to-face. Look at their head. What kind of hair they wearing today, right? But you don't look at each other when you learn. But I think that's the most important thing, is know who's learning with you. And that is divert the attention to the teacher rather to each other. So if I'm saying a teacher, I'm sit down here. So we now become all equal role, right? We all learning together. We can discuss. It's kind of a forum. We're discussing, and from there, I think we learn so much more than one person talk, or know-it-all person tell everybody what to do, right? Because sometimes, teachers do not know everything. Sometimes they make mistakes as well. Sometimes the student have a different idea, but they're afraid to speak up because their attention is on the teachers. I think each and every one of you here have something that you can learn from each other. Not necessarily be the content of the class, but something. The way you learn, for example, can be learned. And having the focus on everybody in the classroom will promote that you want to focus that the student is important. And the teacher is there to help you, not to spread knowledge, right? Speaking of that, right? Because if the teacher is spreading knowledge, right, we don't really need to go to class. Because most of the knowledge, honestly, if you're good, you can find it on the internet. You can Google it, you can read about it, right? So if the teacher know everything like Wikipedia, I don't know. I think the interaction is important here. So, all right, enough said. So we here I promise that I'll kind of teach you some kind of computer science concept, CS 101, and using a game. Right? So the whole class, well, not going to be in just one note card or one game, but it's a really good start, and it's just something that you may do this in your introductory class, will get people excited, beside whatever book that you're learning, right? So let me pass out this note card. So it's basically a basic program. So I guess you get one now, certainly. All right. So we have some computer scientists in here. I'm not going to be trying to, that they don't know this already, right? So just bear with me here, guys. All right. So this is the basic of programming, right? So if I'm a teacher here and I pass out this program, and this kind of concept I want you to learn, right? I can just say, I can start reading it, right? I can say, oh, so you command it to tell the computer to perform a specific task. Well, you can read too. I don't have to say it. And you can maybe go through the book and trying to figure it out, what they say in there, look at some photo, maybe pictures, and then you have to do homework. You have to go home, do homework, because learning is hard. And you have to put in the pain, because you don't spend the pain to read this, you're not going to get anywhere. And then we have you quit tomorrow, because learning is serious. Right? I can do that. I can do all of that, what I just said there. Which make learning, the people start persisting, like, oh, this is terrible, right? But what if I hand you this card, but you don't have to read it yet, you just hold on to it. And we're going to play this game. And while we play, we kind of learn whatever concept in this note card, and so much more about how you can program, how you work in teams, how to learn all these basics And you don't feel like you actually learn it. You kind of come naturally, okay? And so let us start here. Hopefully this will work. All right. Okay, very good. Okay. So it's have music, but I think since it's kind of distracted, I'm gonna mute it. Okay. So the game called Lightbot, and you basically the goal is you have one blue block that you want to move your Lightbot to it, and that's when you achieve goal. And then you're gonna have different obstacle, and you have to control your robot. And the concept of controlling this Lightbot is the same as programming. So when you come to a programming class, kind of what you learn, and we're gonna use this concept to learn programming concept. Okay, so let's play. So let's start with the basic here. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so now you have the Lightbot. And all this button on the screen that we don't know what, right? So let me explain here. So first of all, you have this kind of robot in the grid, and you kind of, what the goal is trying to move the robot to a goal, that's it. And the way you do that is to have this actions, right? You control move robot, so that straight arrow means just move forward. So we have these kind of actions. And in computer science, this action as we can say as command, right? So command is you tell the computer to perform something, or you tell this Lightbot to perform something, maybe moving forward, right? So in order to do that, you take the command, or you write the instructions, and you put it into a thing called, here, put it here, and you add it to run, okay? So after you're doing that, you're effectively writing a code, a short code even, so that the computer know what you mean, and then this can be execute or run, right? So executing it to run the code on the computer or run the code on this robot so it moves, right? So I put this command in, and I hit run. It moved the Lightbot forward. Oh, great! So we have computer run now. Or you can break it, so you come back to it before. And now we're gonna make it to a series of motions. So you want a robot basically to go forward, right? So you keep adding forward. Okay. And you hit run, see what happens. So it keep going. And each time you can see the computer kind of go through each and every command or instruction that you write in this method. It to keep going, and it's doing something, right? So you can effectively make the computer doing something. Moving forward there. And I think at the end, the goal, when you get to the goal, you basically light up, and that's when it's finished. So let's put the light up here, another command, put it there. Okay. So let's run the whole thing here. Hey, you finished, right? So we have command to run the robot, right? We hit the run button to execute, or you tell the robot what to do, or you tell the computer what to do. You have the short code that you've written basically is the command, but it's written in computer language, like go forward or something. That's basically a short code. And so, all right. So now, that's a new concept here, is the main method. What do you mean by main method here? The main method is just a thing, a container, when you put all your command in there, and the computer want to go through all the command in the main method to execute what you want the computer to do, right? So that's basically the main method. And all the code that you ever write going to be put in within a main method. That's going to be in charge of executing everything. All right, so now let's just play something else here. So now that we have this kind of not straight line anymore, so you're going to have some turn. So basically, now you have new command, right? Now you'll be able to turn the robot. So now you have new command you have to do. So let's come on this. So first you want to go for, okay, how about we go around and we give the robot instruction. So each of us is going to give it instruction, right? All right, let's start with you. So what do you want the robot to do?
Go straight.
Go straight, all right. And then Corin?
Same thing.
Same thing, okay? All right.
One more time.
One more time, okay. All right, can we just test it out for now? All right, how about that? Let's run. Okay. Well, it looks good, right? I know that at the end, it kind of step at one place, not really go forward, right? So what happened there? We did something that not supposed to do, right? So because it keep going forward. So let's do something. Do it again. So you notice each time you move the block, it moves, right? And then the last one, it keep kind of stepping at one place, right? So that kind of not a desired property for this robot, right? You don't want to step in one place. So when we run into something like that, it's called a bug. And the process will be debugging. So you debug something, you want to figure out what's wrong with my program, what's wrong with the source code that I write, right? So in order to do that, we kind of go through here and have a break here. It means that you kind of enter the debug mode, you kind of know what computers are doing by using it, right? And so by each step, you go through each command and figure out what's possibly go wrong with it inside the main method. You effectively debug the program. Right? So you debug the behavior of robot here, but when you write source code, you're effectively doing the same thing. You check your command to see what it's supposed to do and whether anything go wrong or a bug. Okay. So apparently we shouldn't have a straight here because walking someplace. Rather, we should turn, right? So let me put, I guess you turn this way. And let's run to see what it does. See, so now we have a straight now. We can turn. Okay, so what else do we do in Tom?
Forward.
Go forward. Okay, we're gonna go around, so Patrick.
One more forward.
One more forward, okay. Okay, so this one? Okay. I'm gonna be like a robot now to do whatever you tell me to do. Okay, Scott?
Forward.
Forward. All right, good enough. Let's see how it does. Okay, so we work together as a team now. Right, so far so good. So everybody kind of working together, and that's very important in computer programming. Because you by yourself can never have enough time to write big programs. Whatever you do in here, Windows, Internet Explorer, PowerPoint, it's a teamwork with a lot of people. Each person kind of chipped in their own function, their own idea. We come to that. Put in their own code, and it collaborated work with everyone. And one people might call a bug, but the team gonna have to figure out how to debug it. So you're gonna, in computer science, you're gonna go this debugging process a lot. So it's a matter of saying, oh, how my robots are doing, what is supposed to turn, oh, it's not supposed to turn there, so we have to change, right? So, okay, so we're here, now what we doing now? I'll come back to you.
They should do turn left.
Turn left, okay? And
Move forward.
move forward, okay? You're not
Can
sure?
I ask a question?
Yes, you can ask questions, of course.
Because I got caught on the last one. Am I going to move forward one, or am I going to move forward stop, or is there some other command that I need to put there?
Very good questions. So as programmer, believe it or not, we ask this question all the time. We ask the question, oh, is my code supposed to do what it's doing? And how do what I do next, right? I don't know if my code running well or not. So usually what we do is we get debugging. So we kind of run the process all over again and see how it's behaved, right? So we got up to this part. Let's run it again and see how it's behaved. Okay, so you get to this point. Now, you know this state. You know what you should do next, right?
Go forward one.
Okay. That seemed like a reasonable thing. I think you exactly did it. Okay, and then after we get there, what we do next?
So the light up.
All right, light up. Okay, so look like we got this going on now. So we go. All right, perfect. Everybody, good job there. All right. So the next concept here, we're gonna have to learn new things, a new command, right? So new command here is jump. Okay. All right. So now we kind of deal with a different problem, right? Now we have block you had to jump over. So in computer science or in programming, you're gonna give new problem all the time. A new problem equal new solution. So we got a new command there, kind of a tool for you to solve problems. Right? We do that a lot. New thing gonna come in, how do you gonna use it, right? So with this, right, now you have a new command called jump. And now you have a new scenario when you have to kind of get up a block, right? So we're gonna do something else. Okay. So what should we do? We should, where would we at? Okay, Patrick?
That new jump one.
Okay, definitely try out new command, right? So jump, and then jump forward. You want to run? Me to run it? Because you can execute.
Yeah.
Okay, let's execute. Okay. So basically, when you execute here, you kind of see what's it doing. Forward. Okay. So it's not easy. Say move forward.
Up forward again.
Forward again. Let me run it for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't help it.
Well, believe it or not, when we program, when a programmer program, for every step, you can check the progress, see how your program do, and then plan the next step. Okay, so you gotta do this all the time. So don't feel bad when you say, oh, I don't know what to do next. That's why we need to debugging. That's why we need to keep on the process and to keep repeating over and over. That's like the best thing in computer science. You know where you are to do now and what is the next step. You can track all of that stuff. So
Okay. Is jump going to go down as well as up?
sure.
The command works both ways.
Yes.
Jump.
So you jump. Very good.
Jump.
And jump again. Okay.
And light it up.
All right. Simple enough. See, we work at the team now. So new thing come in, we ask you question. I think that's the best thing about being a programmer. You can ask questions. You can ask computer question. You can ask your teamwork. You can ask your teammate questions, and you learn from it. All right. So let's run our program again. Jump. Okay, doing great. All right. Not too bad, right? Okay, we are learning. All right, now we actually have a new scenario. Okay, so let me explain. Okay, so when you go here and you line up, it basically transports you to up here. So that's kind of new challenge that we had to face. Right? All right, now. Let's see how we're gonna do. Okay. So I guess first you go forward, and then you light up, right? We know that much. Okay. All right, now we're here. Okay. So you suggest what we do next?
Turn right.
Turn right. Okay.
Forward.
Forward.
Mine's going to be the light up.
Light up. Okay. Again, say if I am a concept in computer science, we call it, if I am a compiler, basically a machine, basically it will do whatever the programmer tells it to do. So now I'm acting as a compiler. I will do exactly what you asked me to do. Right?
Well, can I back up and have you run it first?
Yes, you can. So let's see if you can prove it now. All right. Wait. Yes. So let's do that. Up, we up to here. That's where we're at.
So I will go forward again.
Go forward again. Very
Okay.
good. Right.
Light up.
Light up.
Turn left.
Out.
Jump.
Jump. Wow. Is that good?
She might be wrong. I don't know which direction she
Okay,
might be.
so
Let's run
what
it.
the team consent here? What the team want to do here?
I want to run it and see which way he's facing when he teleports.
Sound like a good idea? Okay, let's see how we do it.
I don't believe she's ever programmed before.
So I think it's very difficult for us to look at things, right? And that's how a lot of computer science students start dropping out in the very early programming class. They thought they like computers, they like programming. But this kind of challenge. And then plus all the concept the teacher had to tell. And you had to program this without knowing exactly what it means. Very frustrating. You can see how it is. Frustrating. But so, all right. So let's run it to see what it does right now. Hopefully nothing break. Okay. Good so far. Oh.
I thought you turned.
It only
Okay.
turns 90 degrees.
Oh, okay.
Well, it really brings me to a good idea. So you see, so it break, right? But in computer or in software, if something break, you can fix it. It's just simply a bug, right? It's not like engineering. If you build a bridge and it break, then you can't fix it, right? This is just a software. So the good thing about computer science, if you don't mind being frustrating sometimes, is everything can be fixed. If you spend the time, you can fix just about everything here, right? So now your robot jumped out, not supposed to, but then you can always go back and change it, right? All right, let's do that. So definitely not jump here, right? Throw it out. So Quay, what are we supposed to do now? Go left. Okay.
That's the wrong one.
So this
Our
one.
compiler has a bug in it.
I know. You say this one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this one.
The right.
The right one. Okay. Okay.
Okay, now let's jump.
Let's jump. All right.
Jump.
Jump again. Don't afraid of error because, like I said before, this is just software. It's not gonna break anything.
Forward.
And forward. Okay.
Light bulb.
Light bulb. It seemed like a last step would be light bulb, right? So you can't go wrong with that. But the question is it a right and the right? So that's very important in a teamwork in computer science. Because one person's mistake would cost the team the results. See, one step that you mess up here, doesn't matter what your team may do, it will not get the right result. So I think being a computer scientist, we really need to work in teams. And that's another concept that in there, the index card, you have noticed, it's teamwork. So, all right, let's see how we do. Okay, hopefully not break this time, right? So let's execute to run. Oh, it didn't break. I think we got it. Very good, very good. So up to this point, believe it or not, we probably covered 3 or 4 chapters in the computer science textbook. Okay, the one that I learned when I'm making program. We might have to do some programming assignment, but the program assignment, believe it or not, is very similar to what you do in here. You turn left, turn right, you move it forward, robot forward. Very simple stuff, right? We come to others. I get more difficult stuff. The game actually have it as well. But right now, we're gonna have a new thing called the fun in functions, right? So before, we have new command for new problem, right? What if now that we have new problem, but the problem basically can be solved with all the old command, but you had to do it again, right? So let's see what I mean by that. Okay. So now we have kind of difficult things, right? But when we look at a computer science problem, we want to see the pattern in it, right? So what the pattern that we see here?
Sorry, in there.
Okay, so the function is available to you, right? They only tell you what to do here, right? So the function you can think of is something that the other team already developed, and now you get to use it, right? Perfect. You don't have to do anything. You just call the functions to use it, right? And the function actually works nicely, and you notice this function right here actually direct the robot to go here and light up, right? That's it. But then you kind of have to do it again here, right? Because it's kind of similar shape, right? And then maybe here as well. So let's see how we do in that. Okay. So whose turn is this? That had it. Robot. Oh,
Function
okay.
1.
Function 1. Okay. Plug in function 1. Okay. So let us run. See how it does. Okay. All right. Great. So now another beauty of computer science is you don't have to write everything. If the function are provided to you, you can just use it, right? This been done before, you can use it. And your program can build up like that, block by block, like Lego brick. So programming is like building Lego block. If you have a big block, you can put it on top of the other block, and it will work just fine. Okay. Question is, how do you make all the functions work together? That's the trick. Right? So what do we do next here?
Rotate left.
Okay. I get kind of cheating because they block out all the okay.
And another function?
Another function, so F1 again. Okay. Got it.
We're gonna rotate left.
Yeah. and
Function one again.
and function 1 again. Okay. I think we do it really good. Okay, great. Oh wow. What happened there? Perfect. So we'll be able to solve very complicated problems using very simple tools. With the help of functions, you can now do a lot more. Right? And that is what we kind of do here. You build on top of each other. Right? And the function is just one way in computer science to be able to do that. Right? We have a lot more level in here that you can earn points. And you think you got it. You know? It's a lot more fun. But I'll save it for you to practice. Because the most important thing I learned from computer science, one, is practice, practice, practice. And the more you do it, the better you get. Right? So have all level, but I'll let you to work on your own time. The link of the games are actually in there as well. So please hope you enjoy. But so after playing the game, let's just imagine how we associate this with the classroom, right? So let's imagine this. What if the learner, students, actually the game player? What if the teacher is actually game designer? And the administrator is game publisher? So it's kind of like a mind shift a little bit. See how do we associate this? Learner don't have necessarily to become one, but what if you can influence a little bit from other concepts in game player designer? What it would be, right? So let me start with the player. Right? You're a game player. You only get appealing package, right? What do you get when you have, say, put in a video game example. Before the game even come out, you have review, you have preview, you have the screenshot, you have the rating of the games, like all this in the appealing package want you to play the game. You have freedom to choose. If you don't want to play a game, you can play another thing. You don't want to play action adventure, you can play puzzle game. You don't want puzzle game, you can play board game. It's freedom for you to choose anything that you would like to play. And the game usually don't have the teacher come on the screen and be like, hey, this is how you should play, yada, 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 right? It's rather a tutorial. So you learn by doing something. You take the tutorial. And then the player always expect a better game. Better AI, better graphics, better strategies, better gameplay. And the player usually receive upgrades. After you play a game, they may have some upgrade that you can do. So now you have new level, for example, new way you can do things. So you play a game, all this stuff. But what if this was true for the college classes? So let us go back and see if this can be true for college classes. What if the college classes come with appealing package? Right? So would it come with pretty picture? Would it come with the rating 1 to 5 of the class? Would it come with a review, a preview? Would it come with the picture about what the class look like or the book look like? Right? What if college students can have freedom to choose what class you want to take? We already kind of have that, so it's a really good thing that you can kind of combination. Even I think you can come up with your own major, right? So it's a good thing. Tutorial. What if college class is a bunch of tutorial, right? So that you can learn also outside of class, right? Since we have the time limited inside the class, it's hard to learn everything, right? You kind of want to learn outside the class, and tutorial is the best way. Tutorial is for self-learning. Expectation, what the college student can expect from the class. Usually you're taking a class, halfway the semester, it should want to be done, really. But that's not what kind of expectation we want. We'd rather want what? Better material, better lectures, better activity or something. So what if we can kind of switch into that kind of expectation? And then receive upgrades. We never see this in the college classes. The class is a class, the syllabus not gonna change. But would it be an interesting idea, and I'm just throwing it out there, that what if the syllabus actually changed? The material in the syllabus can be changed to fit into the student need. Right? The teacher makes the syllabus before the class without even knowing his students. Didn't know who his audience is, but you make it anyway. You give it to them, and now you expect them to follow it exactly. What if the class interests on something else that they are aching to learn? We should upgrade the syllabus. We should change it. We should modify it to fit the student needs. All right. Now let's go to our game designer. What the game designer do? To engage players. If you design a game that the player is not engaged, you're going nowhere. Right? Game player. That's what they think most of the time. They think about the player. They focus on the gameplay of the game. What the strategy, what the balance situation you have. You want to get the game too easy. You don't want the game to be too hard. We focus on the gameplay. And most of the content in the game actually via actions. And now that related back to how the lecture works. Like you have one person telling everyone there what to do. Right? What if what you learn, the content that you learn is via doing something? You play in light bulb, you learn in something. Right? I don't have to tell you what all this concept is. I kind of wrap you around it to tell you what it is. But you learn it mostly because you play, because you're doing something. Oh, I forgot my clicker. I don't see my clicker. Play with friends. Players can play with friends, and that's the most social thing about game nowadays. You can play with your friends. Wonderful. And then you can put up new level, right? The designers had to put out new things for the player all the time to satisfy the needs. The new level will come out to satisfy the expectation from before. So what if designing a course can be approached the same way? Right? So let's go back here. What if we design a course to engage students? Right? That's the goal of it, is to engage the students. The course will be focused on the activity of the gameplay, right? Point scoring system, reward competitions, all that stuff. What if the course would focus on that when we design a course? Or writing a book, even. What if the course is, most of the activity is the material can be learned by activity, by actions? What if the course are having in mind that the student who taking the course want to take their friend with them so they all can all learn together? The course now have new level to learn, to satisfy. If they reach the limit, now they're in the next level. Everyone is competing for that next level. Very, very intriguing idea. So far I haven't seen a lot of implementations, but I think it's very, I think it's still in the early stage, and I kind of an early adapter with the idea. But I think eventually it will come out and then would hopefully change the educations. And finally, the publisher, and I want to point out to EA, Electronic Arts, and Apple, just such absolutely amazing publisher. And why I say amazing publisher? EA Sport, or a division called EA Sport, taking all the sport game and make it to a video games. And now we have all these players before video games. They play sports now, but now they play video game, sport in video games. They take entire sport into video games, right? They're great. Apple, I don't even know that I want to play game on my phone before, but now everyone are doing that. Right? It's absolutely amazing. So what we doing here? The company or the publisher think the players. They want to keep their player in mind. And they know what we work. They focus on what we work, right? Is sport gonna work on video game? Before, I thought video game is a bunch of geek and nerds, and sport is jock, right? No longer. Now all the football players are gonna have football on video game, and all this. So, attract newbie. That's another thing about Apple, right? Before we don't have moms waiting on Subway, for example. Now they can pop out their phone and start playing game on the iPhone, for example. So this audience had never before in there, and now they have a huge number of audience that are new to the games. And what other interesting they do is they release the product at the interest peak. Basically, they have a lot of conference, reviewer conference, conventions, and then when everyone kind of like look forward to what it is, they release the games. And then lastly, they make a player into their brand. They align their players. The player would demand the brand to produce something new for them to play. So what if the goal of our school administrator is to get the learner, all the students, to cry out for more? So this is a very challenging, and I don't think I can explain very well. I'm not experienced in this thing, but it's a good idea for us to think about. What if that is the goal of our administrators? When we get in there, can we attract new interest from the student who want to learn a new course, design a new entire course based on some idea, new demand from industry, for example. But make the learner want to take it, right? Want to basically cry out for more. So how realistic is this, right? So the learner move toward the game player, the teacher move toward the designer, and the administrator move toward the publisher. I think eventually all of this is up to you to decide. If you come out of here taking some of this idea with you, and if you teach a course, be able to apply it, I will be very excited, and that is my ultimate goal. You can teach the way you teach. Apply only one or two ideas here. I'm sure you can make your course a lot more interesting, more engaging, and the student will thank you.